When it comes to the symbol of cruelty in religion, the first name that comes to everyone's mind is undoubtedly Satan. But the more terrifying thing is the presence of other shadowy figures. Names like Lucifer, Beelzebub, or Macy Tophus send shivers down the spine whenever mentioned, spreading a chilling fear. Because they represent the most terrifying dark forces, those who have forsaken the light to drown in darkness. Satan, the eternal adversary of God, is the embodiment of rebellion and defiance. Here's a little-known truth. Satan isn't the only fallen angel, he's merely one of the betrayers who turned against the Almighty. Dragging along a terrifying force of darkness, merely mentioning it is enough to strike utter terror into people's hearts. Today, we will explore the 4 glorious angels mentioned in the Bible, beings created by God Himself. Once a close confidant by your side, yet you betrayed, inciting a chaotic war that shook heaven, only to be condemned to eternal exile. Who are they? What journeys have they embarked on? Let's uncover the untold mysteries of these wandering angels. Lucifer, the god of light. Lucifer, the once radiant, greatest, and most magnificent angel in the heavens. The path of God is forged with infinite power and supreme wisdom. He once stood at the pinnacle of power, holding a position no one dared to challenge, but that very perfection slowly turned him arrogant. In his heart, Lucifer was no longer content with serving God, he craved ultimate power. Yearning for a day of brilliance, rising above all, even the highest peak, he declared with mad ambition, "I shall ascend to the heavens, reign atop the myriad stars, standing equal to the Supreme One." But that was precisely the beginning of the downfall. Greed and pride drove Lucifer to launch an unprecedented rebellion, drawing in a third of the angels. The battle between good and evil erupts in the heavens, spreading across the universe. However, his power was nothing in the face of justice. The archangel Michael led the heavenly army to defeat Lucifer and his forces, casting them down into the abyss of darkness. Once the radiant angel of light, Lucifer has now become Satan, the adversary of mankind, the master of deceit, and the embodiment of destruction. Banished from heaven, he wandered the mortal world, lurking in the shadows, ever watchful and seeking to lure humans into sin. Once a radiant angel, his image had now become a symbol of betrayal, darkness, and destruction, striking fear into all who beheld him. Samyasa, the leader of the Guardians. Samyasa is a fallen angel, as well as one of the leaders of the rebellion. The one who sees God. According to the Book of Enoch, a non-canonical text referenced by some biblical authors, Samyasa was the leader of the Watchers, angels sent to earth to oversee and guide humanity. But as soon as they descended to the mortal realm, Samyasa and his accompanying angels became enchanted by the dazzling beauty of earthly maidens. They desired the daughters of men, so they decided to abandon the duty entrusted to them. According to the Book of Enoch, when the beautiful girls were born, the Watchers, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. "Let us take the daughters of men as wives and have children with them." Samyasa, their leader, feared he would be the sole one to bear the guilt of this sin. However, the other angels unanimously swore an oath, determined not to abandon their plan. In the end, 200 angels descended upon Mount Hammond. Samyasa and his followers took the daughters of men as wives, then taught them the hidden knowledge of the heavens, from astrology and sorcery to the forging of weapons. But that inclination brings no good, only paves the way for rampant violence and greed. The offspring born from those marriages were called the Nephilim, who became brutal giants, bloodthirsty and spreading destruction across the world. Witnessing this corruption, God was filled with wrath and decided to destroy all life with a great flood. He warned John Noah, the last loyal one, so that he could prepare in time and preserve his life. As for Samyasa and the other guardians, the Lord commanded that they be locked away in a place of utter darkness, where they must endure torment and imprisonment until the day of final judgment. Here are 2 natural English translations of the Vietnamese text. After ordering the arrest of Samyasa and the guardian angels, the Lord decided to protect the righteous lineage of mankind. Only through one faithful man, Noah, could the next generation survive and life not be wiped from the earth. Bind their hands and feet tightly and cast them into the dark prison of shadows. Dig a deep pit in the desert and trap the unruly bunch inside. Scatter upon them sharp and jagged stones, drown them in eternal darkness so they may never again behold the radiant light of day. When the apocalypse comes, they will be cast into an eternal sea of fire. Raphael obeyed God's command, while he continued to heal the earth, restoring it after the crimes committed by the fallen angels. The Lord declared that he would not use a great flood to destroy all of humanity, but would reserve that punishment for the final judgment day, when all things are clearly decided. Then, he entrusted Archangel Michael with a new mission. He commanded that a message be delivered to Samyasa and his followers. Destruction shall befall their vile hybrid offspring, the wicked Nephilim. They will destroy each other, forced to witness the deaths of their loved ones and families. And as for Samyasa and those fallen angels, imprison them beneath the earth for 70 generations, until the day of final judgment, when eternal punishment shall be carried out. The fall of Samyasa and the guardian angels condemned them to eternal suffering in the abyss. Their lineage, the Nephilim, was wiped out in the Great Flood. However, some souls remain and linger in the mortal world, turning into malevolent spirits, wandering everywhere in search of a body to possess. Once a radiant angel, Samyasa has now become the embodiment of corruption, a mind in ruin and boundless desire. Azazel, the harbinger of corruption and decay. Azazel is one of the most dangerous and terrifying fallen angels, the one whom God has granted strength. Azazel was once one of the most skilled and powerful warriors of the celestial realm. According to Psi-Inik, he is also a member of the Angel Guardian group. But then he fell into a love affair with the girls of Transan, betraying the mission entrusted by the Lord. Azazel sinned not only by indulging in revelries with naked girls. At the same time, he passed on to them the forbidden secrets of the celestial court, leading them to spread violence and arrogance. Azazel taught humankind how to forge knives, swords, and craft armor and shields. How to manufacture weapons and extract minerals from the earth to produce dangerous tools of war. For women, he taught them how to apply makeup, line their eyes, dye their hair, and wear jewelry to flaunt their beauty. From these things, deceit, arrogance, and selfishness gradually seep deep into the human soul. The world was once a harmonious society, but it quickly descended into chaos as war, deceit, and ambition spread everywhere. According to the Book of Enoch, Azazel taught men how to forge weapons, while instructing women in the art of eye makeup and enhancing their beauty. And so, power and lust corrupted human morality, spreading adultery and depravity everywhere. And they keep losing their way, making mistakes in every move. Faced with the crimes committed by Azazel, God could not turn a blind eye and thus tasked the angel Raphael with punishing him. Bind Azazel in chains and cast him into the darkest depths of the desert of Tudat. Cast stones upon him, so he may forever drown in darkness, awaiting the day of final judgment. He will be thrown into eternal fire, to suffer unending pain. Azazel is also mentioned in the Bible, particularly in the book of Leviticus. The translation of the given Tiang Viet text into natural Tiang An is: on that day, the high priest will choose 2 goats, one to be offered to the Lord as a sin offering, and the other to be used for another purpose. The second goat, called the scapegoat for Azazel, shall be sent into the wilderness. The priest will lay his hand on the goat's head, symbolizing the bearing of all the sins of the people of Israel. That goat will bear all the sins and then be driven into the wilderness, a place where many believe Azazel dwells. Although there is still debate over whether Azazel is the name of an entity or merely a place in the desert. Many believe that Azazel is a fallen angel who brought violence, vanity, and greed to humanity. He is the embodiment of corruption, the lord of wicked souls. Those depraved and wicked souls, though imprisoned, still lurk in the shadows, awaiting the moment of liberation to unleash terror and sin upon the world. Azazel is the most vivid testament to an undeniable truth. Knowledge without compassion and discipline brings only destruction and chaos. Thus, the fall of Azazel is not merely a tale of an angel. This is not only a profound lesson about responsibility when wielding power and knowledge. When the Filipinos captured the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred symbol of the Isabel people, they didn't realize they carried his wrath with them. At first, they were completely unaware of the danger the wishing star chest could bring. But when they placed that statue next to the idol of Dagon, their god, strange things began to happen. The statue of Dagon collapsed, its head and limbs shattered into pieces, plunging the entire population of the Philippines into chaos. Philippine leaders quickly regrouped and asked, how should we handle the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord? If we leave it here, disaster will surely befall us. They decided to move the Ark of the Covenant to the city of Gath, hoping to escape the wrath of God. However, when the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Gath, that city too was plunged into mourning. People began falling ill, with deadly diseases and painful tumors appearing everywhere. The cries of lamentation rose from every home, until the entire city seemed to howl its anguish to the heavens. The people of Gad were so terrified that they decided to send the Ark of the Covenant to Ekron, but this only made things worse. This is the god of Isarin. That very deity inflicted terrible calamities upon Achab in the desert. Finally, after much debate, the Filipino priests and prophets reached an agreement. The decision was that the only way to appease God's wrath was to return the Ark of the Covenant to the Israelites. But they knew it could not be sent without an offering of atonement. They discussed among themselves, unsure of what offering to present to this deity to atone for their mistake. Finally, they decided to create golden statues representing tumors and rats, the things that caused them suffering. They placed the offerings beside the Ark of the Covenant and then securely fastened them to the horse-drawn cart. The cart was pulled by 2 cows that had never been yoked. They left the calf behind to see if the 2 mother cows could find their way back to Israel on their own. If this is indeed true, they must understand that every disaster that befalls them stems from the wrath of God. Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, a symbol of filth and corruption. Lord of the Flies, and is often associated with filth, disease, and superstitious practices. In mythology, Beelzebub is regarded as one of the most powerful dark forces and is often even equated with Satan. Some religious leaders at that time accused Jesus, claiming that he drove out demons by the power of Beelzebul. It means he is the devil himself. They say this man can only cast out demons by the power of Beelzebub, the prince of demons. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. If Satan is divided against himself and his kingdom is divided, it cannot stand. If we drive out demons by the power of Satan, by what power do your followers cast them out? With that statement, he not only refuted their baseless accusations but also firmly affirmed the truth. The passage also affirms that his power comes from God, while showing that the kingdom of heaven is near. The final battle and the downfall of the rebel angels. The angels cast out of heaven, including Lucifer, Azadjo, Beelzebub, and Samyaza. They were all once radiant angels, living beside God. However, due to their pride, greed, and lust, they rebelled against the Lord and were cast down into hell. Their story serves as a profound warning about the dangers of abusing power. Without discipline and wisdom, even loyalty can become something that destroys them. The Bible states that on the final day of judgment, Satan, the ancient dragon, the deceiver of all nations, will be punished. Will be seized and imprisoned in the abyss for 1,000 years. After 1,000 years have passed, he will be set free for a brief moment. And he will continue to deceive the people, gathering rebels from all corners like Gog and Magog, to initiate the final battle against the holy saint and his followers. Yet in the end, the sacred fire from heaven shall descend, consuming all of Satan's armies. He, along with the beasts and the false prophets, will be thrown into the blazing lake of fire. A place where torture and suffering never reach. That is the fate of the lost, and the final victory belongs to God and his people. When all evil and deceit are destroyed, God will restore order to the world. Grant the loyal a new kingdom, where joy, peace, and the light of day will reign forever. These stories are not merely warnings about the consequences of arrogance and defiance. It is also a promise that the ultimate victory will belong to truth and justice. May those who read and understand always hold steadfast to their faith and loyalty. For as the Qing mirror taught, those who remain faithful shall live forever in the light of God.